Inspiration is always kind of hard to quantify or to talk about. A lot of people ask, where do the ideas for your books come from? And they can come from anywhere. The genesis of Angelborn was from an idea that I had had many years ago and started writing a different story about it. And the idea was for a girl to fall in love with an invisible boy. And what would that look like? And what would that mean? And I started another story, and it went through a couple of drafts, and then I put it away because I wasn't getting anywhere with it. And in the meantime, I wrote Song of Blood and Stone. And so while that was in edits, I came back to the idea of this girl and this invisible boy that only she can see. And how would that work? And a couple days later, I woke up in the middle of the night. I needed to grab a pen immediately, and I started writing. And that book just flowed completely out of me. Those first two books, even Song of Blood and Stone, did as well. The first draft of Song of Blood and Stone, I wrote 10,000 words one day, 11,000 words the second day. And that was the first draft. It was a 21,000 word first draft. It was going to be a novella. I always thought that book was going to be short, and it just kept getting longer and longer and longer. But, and Angelborn was similar. I wrote it in a week, but it just flowed. And obviously I spent a lot of time with both books, with every book, revising after the initial first draft. The second Angel book was very similar. The first half of it flowed like that. Sometimes the ideas flow really quickly, and sometimes you have to do a little bit more pulling to get them out. When I wrote Whispers of Shadow and Flame, which is book 2 in the Earthseer Chronicles, it did not come as easily. I worked really hard organizing the ideas, organizing the characters and the conflict, and writing and cutting and writing and cutting, and just fashioning that. And so each book is kind of its own world, its own experience. It takes on its own life. It has its own birth and maturity, and they're still alive, and I guess they'll be alive forever, so they're kind of immortal. They're not going to die, but bringing them into the world has been different for each of the 4 things that I've published so far. And I'm sure that everything that comes after this will be just like that, will be different each time. I'm working on the next books in each of the series, and they come at their own pace. They come with their own issues and their own struggles, and I think that's just the life of the story and the storyteller. I'm growing with each book that I write and with each story that I tell. I'm learning more. I'm incorporating old knowledge, making new mistakes, hopefully not making old mistakes, but sometimes I will. Me and commas, I know, have a problem, and my copy editors probably want to strangle me. I think I understand comma splices now. I hope. I'm really working on that. But yeah, so each journey is completely unique in each book. The wonderful thing about finishing a novel is that you know that you can do it because you've done it. The horrible thing is now you have to do it again, and it's not the same journey twice. It's like you think that, if you're driving from DC to Los Angeles, you've done it once, you can do it again, but it's sort of like in Harry Potter, where the staircases change and the hallways change directions, and the way you went yesterday you can't go again. If it was easy, it wouldn't be worth doing. And I've learned so much through writing, talking to readers, listening to how people are perceiving the book, what they're taking away from it, whether or not that's what I intended them to. It's really fascinating, and it's really energizing, and I love that part of it too. Because once you put it into the world, it's not yours anymore. It's like, I know what I was trying to say, I know what I was trying to do with the book, but people are going to take from it whatever they want, and that's great. That's what you want. That's what art is supposed to be. And so I think that the fact that each story has a completely different origination and birthing process and pathway that it comes into the world is wonderful, and it keeps it exciting, and it keeps it fresh for me.